actions are pleasing to you. We hope that we would be a city that looks to you for guidance, that trusts in your word, and that we never forget to thank you for the many blessings that you provide for us. We thank you. We praise you. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me to pledge our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk can call the roll, please.
Alderwoman Garrett.
Present.
Alderwoman Godfrey.
Present.
Alderman Martin. Here. Alderman Chapman.
Present.
Alderman Wilbanks. Here. Alderwoman Oliver.
Present.
Alderman Locke. Attorney Will Purdy. Present. And Rebecca Phil Fisher.
Okay, we have two recognitions tonight, and we have some visitors that are here tonight. District 2 Supervisor Tony Smith is here. Supervisor Smith, you'd like to say a few words to the people, or are you good?
Well, good evening. I'm a District 2 supervisor. For you know, I'm not quite sure what the District 2 is. It starts from Learned, Edwards, Bowden, Brownville, goes through Clinton, Northside, all the way to Fondren. I have about 500 miles of roads, 399 rural roads, and 100 city. This is your district. I'm just a civil servant who represents the people who live in District 2. If you need me, please call my office. We have we have 5 SPOs that go out and they gather information to try to serve you. So God bless you and thank you.
Thank you.
District 2.
And also we have former Congressman Greg Harper, who's here tonight to talk to us a little bit about things that are going on with his lobbying efforts and other information he may have. So,
thanks, Mayor, and Alderman. Great to see everybody, and what a great place to be. And we, you know, if I told you that I knew everything that was going on, then I'd probably make quite an impact, because it's we've not only got issues when we deal with the state, there's going to have to be a special session. There's a question there now. The House and Senate trying to work through their differences on this, and so there will be a special session called by the governor as soon as the House and Senate tell him that they've got a deal. And at this point, they don't, but we do know they're talking. So we're certainly going to continue there. We hope that there will be local project money. Ultimately, when it's done, there's a difference of opinion on how to handle that. So just stay tuned for that. I've been in DC on average 2 to 3 times a month. I was up there. We had the groundbreaking. Brett was at the groundbreaking, and I was in DC. And actually, on that day and the days around it, meeting with Senate staff in particular on this project, trying to make sure that we were on the right page. And of course, we went through some disappointment, as you know, because they did a continuing resolution for the rest of the year, and we had for FY25 $7.7 million to continue on the project, and it was we weren't alone in our disappointment, but it was something that we hated not to be able to get in. So we've redone the request. I know we're not supposed to say earmarks anymore, congressionally directed spending. So we've put in those applications for those. They are in the mill. We know that we have the support of our congressional group there, and so we'll continue doing that. It's just, the timing on that is hard to say, and as you know, there's the reconciliation issue that's going on right now in the House and Senate, trying to work through those details, and hopefully, the novel idea that maybe we'll get a budget at some point. The one thing that we don't want to have is another continuing resolution. So there's a lot of uncertainty out there, but the good thing is we've got a project that's ongoing. It's not like we're trying to get a new startup project. This is one that we've been there, and it's been a total team effort, not only of this board and this mayor, but a lot of folks that are doing things on it. So we've got a board that's active on the treated wastewater board for Clinton, Raymond, and Bolton. We've got Connect West Mayor. There's a lot of folks trying to work together as we move forward. And so just want to express my appreciation to Mayor Fisher, being able to work with him. Look forward to the future, working with soon-to-be Mayor Purdy. But you're doing a great job. We've got a lot going on for us, and we'll continue these efforts and hope to report back as we have news. And with that, Mayor, any questions? I'm happy to try to answer.
Questions, comments? Any comments? Thank you.
Thanks so much. Good to see you guys. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Okay, next up, item 6A through W, approval of consent agenda items. Do I have a motion, a comment, or a question?
And recuse myself from item B, but I'll move to approve item 6A, C through W.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now look at the item B. We have a motion, a comment, or a question.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay. We'll move down here to department head reports. Marley Price Cook, newly married. Want me to make sure we got the last name right. Has our department head report tonight.
Good evening. I wrote up a little post-it note. Sometimes I still forget my last name. At the groundbreaking the other day, I was introducing myself, and it's the first time I've had to introduce myself with my last name. And I kept stumbling, and a guy was like, "Are you sure that's your name?" I was like, "Yes, I'm sorry. I'll get it right one day." Well, good evening. It's been a while since I stood before you all, so I thought I would just kind of reflect on what I've been working on since the last time I was up here. The first thing is Red Brick Roads. For those of you who attended, you know that it was quite a success due to some budget constraints. Usually the city will provide the promotional budget as well as the marketing budget. So this year I kind of stepped in, designed the poster, all the marketing content and collateral for that, press releases, anything that they kind of needed from that side to kind of leverage that distance from the promotional budget that we usually have. And I think the whole team came through, and it was such an incredible event. And I definitely think moving it to March and not in August was a wonderful decision. Next, something that Courtney and I have been working on is the sponsorship opportunities for the Red, White, and Blue Fest this year. Courtney had the idea to come up with a comparison chart, as our sponsorship package last year was a bit convoluted. It was about 11 pages. So we wanted people to be able to look at it and know what they were getting with each package. So we've been working on that. We were pushing that out. And if anyone watching wants to sponsor Red, White, and Blue Fest, they can go to clintonms.org/RWBfest for more information on those sponsorship opportunities. The next thing I'm really excited about, I don't know if any of you have seen the T, which stands for Totally Easy Agenda. So I always say we're spilling the tea. When you're looking at these agendas that Jimmy sends out, or that all of us are looking at tonight, as a citizen, it can be kind of daunting to understand exactly what it means. My initial intent was to do a video after every board meeting, and I could never get those videos below 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, no one's going to watch a 5-minute video. So I comprise all of our highlights into a PDF format. They're on our website at clintonms.org/T, so that you can view all the highlights from past board meetings. And I think it really also gives us a chance when Roy's up there for someone to see exactly what Roy is talking about when he's talking about kind of locations in Clinton that are asking for whatever they're asking for. So I've actually gotten a lot of really good feedback in the community about this in different places that I've gone, where people are like, hey, who's doing the T thing? And being able to actually interact with that and read it and kind of keep up if they happen to miss the board meetings themselves. Next, there is a landing page for the upcoming municipal election. I worked on that with Jimmy. It is clintonms.org/vote2025. It has all of our polling locations. We put the Republican primary forum link on there. When we do a forum for the remaining candidates, that will be on there as well. I think it's a really good place for people to go and get information. It's at the top of the page when you go to clintonmass.org, next to pay online and events. So I think it's prime location this time of year when people are asking those questions. They want to know where to vote and they want information on the candidates. I'm guessing that y'all saw this logo last night for the Clinton Conservation Council. I was really excited to work on this group. I had talked with y'all about creating a landing page for the Arboretums, the educational piece that accompanies Arboretums. This is kind of a moving target as we continue to add Arboretums, and I think Donna's idea is to launch everything at one time, but I just kind of want to give y'all a glimpse of what it is currently looking like. And I definitely want a picture of every tree. I'm not a tree enthusiast. I don't know what I'm looking at, but if you have a picture for reference, I'm hoping that helps as well. So communications by the numbers. This is the slide I used last time, and I wanted to use it again. The digital communications, this is from November to now, it's 137. I've also started including when I respond to the contact us emails from our website. Those have increased significantly. I believe when I last counted, I had gotten 64 of those since November. So that just tells me that people are actively using the website. When they want information, if they're not finding it, they are using that link to either contact myself, the mayor, or to put in a work order. The number I'm most excited about is the Facebook followers. That is creeping up significantly. And our Facebook itself has seen tremendous growth in reach, exposure, and interactions. Our reach is up 82%. Interactions are up 133%, and the visits to our Facebook page are up over 60%. So I think with some of the implementations that I put in, that kind of shows me I'm getting back what I'm putting in. I would love to see some increase in my Instagram numbers, but hopefully next time I can stand before you and show you an increase in those numbers. That's a little bit of a different crowd. They respond to things differently, and they choose to follow pages for different reasons. So I'm gonna crack that code, and hopefully that number will go up the next time I'm in front of you. Something I have also done that seems to have contributed to a rise in these numbers is I've created a link tree, especially on like our Instagram or our Twitter page. It's one website where you can go to see the links to all of our communication assets, because they don't really allow you to put those kind of assets on your page. This is another slide that y'all remember from last time I was up here. I was telling you that I was going to implement something called Keeping the Pace: promote, advance, celebrate, and elevate. Promote was meeting with groups. I have started to do that. I have been inducted into the Civitan group. Got to go there, have a wonderful breakfast at MC. Got a lot of really good feedback from them. They obviously been awake a lot longer than I have that morning. They are really interested in tourism and finding new ways we can bring people to Clinton. So that was really informative. I've also started going door to door with businesses, introducing myself, telling people who I am, what I do, introducing them to the events page, because I've noticed just being on Facebook, a lot of our businesses in Clinton are having karaoke nights or trivia nights, and that's something that I want them to be able to put on the events page. So just putting myself in front of them and letting them know who I am has been a part of that as well. Advance, I don't know if these are something that you've seen, but it's something that I'm working on once a quarter. I want to put out some informative content. So last quarter, my informative content was We Love Clinton, a city full of heart. This was in partnership with what Tara was doing for Support Local, Love Local. I wanted to focus on the city and why people love our city and the people who work in our city. This quarter, I started Clinton University. Oh, go back. And this was something that I've been wanting to do. I have called it Civics 101 for forever. But when I'm on Facebook doing my research, and even when we put content on Facebook at times, the comments I see people make, the questions I see them ask, they're questions that I would have asked before I got this job. And then you kind of get a blind spot when you start to work for the city with, well, they should know that. Well, I didn't. So I actually have gotten some great feedback, especially since the newsletter went out. I've gotten 4 or 5 emails with people having a list of questions that I plan to go through. Yesterday, we started with how many miles of streets does the city maintain? Something I see a lot is paving questions. And why isn't my street paved? And not knowing what the city's responsible for and what the order of operations for street paving is. So that's the first thing that we are going to focus on with Clinton University. So the next 2, celebrate and elevate. I wanted to talk about how I'm incorporating that into communications, because that was my community spotlights and my experience, Clinton. On the left side of the screen, you'll see 2 of my top performing posts on Facebook. And the one with umbrellas was shared over 78 times and was viewed over 161,000 times. It has over 900 interactions. And I think people just loved seeing a part of our community, but it was kind of a two-faced approach, because it was shared and interacted with so much, but it was also a list of events that we have coming. So you had over 161,000 people seeing the events that we had coming up in our city. The second was the opening of Kalakis. I kind of did a talking about how full the sidewalk was in front of City Hall. That got some great traction, which shows me with that community engagement, people love to know what's new, what's happening in our city. And then the 2 on the right are Instagram. One was right before Red Brick Roads. I posted a post about all of the businesses we have in the Old Town District. If you bought a ticket into Red Brick Roads, where you could eat and where you could shop when you were inside the footprint. And then during the We Love Clinton, I did a video on N is for Nature about our parks, and people loved that video. So I really get my best feedback when I post things and see what people are interacting with. And that's kind of, Robert will agree, communications is a moving target. You just kind of say, oh, this is great, and it may flop. And then something you don't think is going to resonate well, people will latch onto it. So you just kind of move your target every day, depending on what people interact with the most. And so that's what I'm going to keep doing moving forward.
We appreciate your effort.
Yes, thank you for that.
For the information.
The new website and all that.
It helps me assign everything responsibility. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As she was speaking, Supervisor Wanda Evers walked in. She's somewhere. Well, there she is. I was afraid she might have walked back out, but no, there she is there. Supervisor, have you got anything you'd like to say to us?
I would just like to say, I'm glad to be your supervisor District 4, and I would like for Marley to email me when we have upcoming events in Clinton, so we can get it out for everybody to be able to know. And another thing, I'm glad the bridge is open.
We think we are too.
We all for your help.
Okay, I had this letter. I didn't read this little note there that I got the other day. I wanted to share it with the city. I said I wanted to express my gratitude for the quick response to my request for tree limb removal. The gentleman was quite efficient and very skilled. He was very kind and should be recognized for his customer service. I'm proud to live in a city that takes care of its people. Thanks for everything. I'll pass that along to Philip to make sure that he gets that. We are picking up a lot of tree limbs right now, as you can imagine, and it's just that time of year where we'll be getting a lot more of them as we go along. So, okay, next up is the mayor's discussion and reports.
Mayor,
Yes,
We have one for the
Board of Alderman discussion.
we do. Okay, I don't have it. Oh, that's the appointment. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
appointment.
I'm sorry. Your appointment. Go ahead, Ms.
Yes,
Howard.
I would like to appoint Paige Smith, she's here today, to the Planning and Zoning Board. I'm having to replace the one that I have due to some personal issues. And so I would like to say a little bit about Paige. When I asked her for a resume, she said, I don't have one because my first job out of college was as a Hines County Public School teacher, second grade at Raymond Elementary since 1996. So she just kind of listed, but she's been a teacher for several years, been on some school committees, and also served on the Superintendent Leadership Committee. She was voted Teacher of the Year in 2016, and she serves on their leadership team. She also is on the HOA board for Bruenberg, and can I say what they call you for the pool? Yeah, they call her Pool Nazi. Because she is she is an excellent person. And if you ride through Bruenberg, if there's anything wrong, she will either address it or she will talk to Roy or me but she is very good at keeping up with that community, and that's why it's a great community to live in, as a lot of other communities in the city of Clinton. And she also coordinates and plans weddings as needed. So I think she's going to be a great asset to our planning and zoning.
So you have a motion for,
I make a motion to appoint Paige Smith to the Planning and Zoning Committee.
is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, item 9A, discussion action approval for the mayor to execute an agreement with Adopter Charger Inc. for the install of electric vehicle charging stations at the depot, the visitor center, Brighton Park, Kidstown, and Traceway Park using grant money from Energy. Ms. Nunn's here, our Director of Parks and Rec, to talk us through this. We've got some Energy reps here that will be available if we have those deep dive questions.
Yeah, so thank you. So we've got Tyson Reno here on behalf of Entergy. He is also serving as my chairman for the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. So thank you, Tyson. Give a shout out for that. He's great. So as you know, this was brought to you guys maybe a few weeks ago. I was not at that meeting. I'm just presenting on behalf of everybody that's been working on this, because it's kind of been a collective effort. But this would be electric vehicle chargers at several locations in the city. And as you see the different locations on the agenda, the Depot, Visitor Center, Brighton Park, Kidstown, they will all have the ability to charge 2 vehicles. And then at Traceway, there will be 4. So you'll be able to charge 4 vehicles at one time. So like I said, it's a collective effort through Adopt a Charger that will be taken care of by Entergy funding, grant funding. So if y'all have any questions, I might can answer them or Tyson could answer them. So do you have anything you would like to say? Good.
This is a big increase of locations from
Yeah.
what we talked about at the work session when you were here, right? So that's,
The train depot was.
yeah, we just had 2 locations and we've expanded, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. There was some additional money with that grant funding that's allowing the additional locations to get added.
We appreciate it, and I move to approve.
Thank you. Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item B, discussion action approval to accept a donation from the Lions Club organization for $10,000 for maintenance and improvements at Lions Club Park. Ms. Nunn?
Awesome. So it is with great sadness to let you guys know that the chapter here for Lions Club will no longer be functioning here in Clinton. But I would like to say a big thank you to the Lions Club here for all the things that they've done for the community, the funding that they've given us, the funding that they've given to other businesses and organizations within the community, all the community service work that they've done. That is just, through them volunteering at different things. They've done a wonderful job. As part of their closing of the chapter, they were going to take their funds and, disperse them to different organizations, and they have chosen to donate $10,000 toward the parks, or Lions Club Park playground repairs and maintenance. So I want to make that clear. It didn't say playground on there, but it's for the playground at Lions Club Park. So that'll be for future issues that may come up. So, with your approval, I would like to donate that. I'm actually heading right to their meeting right after this to go accept that donation.
Yeah, I move to approve. Motion is made and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item C, discussion action, approval of change order number 3 from Joe McGee Construction related to the 80-20 Rising Springs project in the amount of $24,928.34 and authorize the mayor to execute the order and any related documentation. Our city clerk, Jimmy Balcher, will take us through this now.
Thank you, Mayor. As you're aware, we're coming to the end of phase one of the development up here at the 80-20 project, now known as Rising Spring. And this is just part of wrapping up the project. There was a number of changes that were made to facilitate beginning of phase two, just to move some things to, instead of doing it and have to undo them and move them, we just decided to go ahead and make some change orders and to make that as seamless as possible. There's a number of things, but again, this is just to kind of wrap up phase one and get us to the finish line. Happy to report everything is on target. They are substantially complete with the project and coming in at or under budget. So
They took right.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item D, discussion action acceptance of recommendation by the Rising Spring Review Committee and approval of all firms listed therein as qualified contractors for the upcoming bid process related to phase two of the Rising Springs project. Mr. Balcher?
yes, sir. Continuing on with this, the next step is phase two. We are working on those projects, on the scope of that project. We're waiting on the final documents for the bid package to go out. But in anticipation of that, we've already done a qualification of potential bidders for the project. You've received a list of each of those different types of bidders. There's 3 different phases. Won't go through in details tonight, but we received a number of qualified bidders. Everyone on that list met the scope and the qualifications that were set forth. And so with your approval, we'll go ahead and approve them. They'll receive the bid package as soon as it's ready. We'll be able to move on to the next step.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Alderman Wilbax, you sit on that committee. It looks like it's going great. I mean, we're seeing curving and all that, streets are developing. They're moving to phase two. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of where we're going with that?
Well, it does look great. It looks like a thing with the roads. And so there's a big improvement. The first phase was $8 million that we received from the legislature. And that has pretty much taken that 8 million from what you see today, and it's almost complete. The next phase will be exciting. We think we're looking at various phases of different projects to use that next 8 million, but I think you will probably see landscaping and lights and sidewalks and the amphitheater, the center part of that, the focus of it, which will be the spring feature, and all of that will probably be included in that next phase. And I think it probably another year or so before you see all that going complete, but hopefully you'll see it work on all of that quickly. I think you'll also see some quick, hopefully soon, some buildings being built and some exciting things going on. So this is going great, and I think what they will be able to do with the money, and 16 million sounds like a lot, but it doesn't go very far in this kind of project, and I think doing a really good job with that kind of money. And at the end of the phase two, I think you'll be very, very pleased.
Yeah, well, thank you. Okay, item E, discussion action authorization of right-of-way payments to Henry R. and Patricia E. Wines in the amount of $2,150 and to Rocket Mortgage in the amount of $625 for wastewater expansion project as requested by the Clinton Raymond Bolton Wastewater Authority. And there's some others that are added to this that you want to put in that we received today, Mr. Balcher?
Yes, Mayor, if you would, with your indulgence, we've received 3 more of the compensation offers from the wastewater authority who is managing this project. They've asked for us to expedite these requests instead of waiting until the next meeting because these are involved with a court hearing for an eminent domain process, and they will happen before the next meeting would happen. And part of the court process is we need to provide a check to the court for them to hold as part of their process. So with your allowance, we will add properties for the Curtis, Cox, and Howard families to that, and just ask for approval to forward those all together.
That's 5 total.
Yes.
Safe to approve.
Should be 4, right?
Would have gone up.
Two that are on there.
The total amount for everything together is $20,880. These
Okay.
properties vary quite a difference on the size, the number of acreage, how much is impacted by the project, so there's a wide range.
Yeah, I second.
Here we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item F, discussion action, review and approval of summary change order and final payment for Quail Hollow Drive culvert replacement improvements. Mr. Owens, our consulting city engineer, will take us to this, and I believe there's a question also on the amount. His family is here.
Well, you've got in your package, and we discussed last night, the summary change order and recommended pay request for Quail Hollow. Included in that were some deductions from that. We recommend that those be enforced. However, Mr. Granderson, who is here with RNC, would like to speak to the board on the liquidated damages and the issues with the water line.
Mrs. Gander, are you gonna be the, okay. Come on up and, if you would, just let us know your name, your address, so we have it in our minutes.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Granderson, and I reside at 97 Gore Road, Jackson 5. We've been re-annexed, Byron, Mississippi. All right, I'm with RNC Services. I'm a managing member of the company. Yes, we did want to discuss a few things, and with the, let's start with the water leak. The item that we're being asked to pay for is kind of blindsided on because it's not a part of the original contract specification or plans. And when we agreed to that particular contract, that's what we bid on. If there was going to be a change order to that, that change order should have happened prior to the placement of that valve. If that valve needed to be added to that contract, that should have been a discussion. We should have submitted bid pricing for that item. And there should have been a conversation back and forth between us, and a change order should have been approved prior to installation. We shouldn't be cleaning it up after installation of that valve.
That's just like, just for clarification,
Yes, sir.
you're objecting to a second valve being added?
There's no second, there was no first.
Okay, so you're objecting to a first valve?
Exactly. The valve was added to the valve is not a part of it. This valve that we're being asked to pay for is not even a part of the contract specification of plans. It was just, Mr. Owens decided on the spot that this is what he wanted. So he put it on in there and then said, okay, guess what? Go ahead and pay for it too. That's not right. And that's not something anybody should be asked to do. That was one issue. The second issue is he continued with that issue. We should have asked for economic adjustment for that. That's what should have happened in that particular instance. Because what he did, when he put that valve, when he did an on-spot contract change, which again is against that contract, let's be honest about it. What he did was he was acting under our insurance, our license, and our bonding, and with our staff. And that was improper to do so. We should have been allowed to come in, fix that valve, and bring it back to contract specifications, what was originally asked for. But we weren't. That's the first issue. So no, we are not obligated to pay for something we never asked for and the board never approved. As far as the liquidated damages go, the issue with the liquidated damages on our end is this. We proposed how we wanted to fix that as the contract when we discussed that with Mr. Owen. Again, he decided the way he wanted it done and what he wanted us to do. Again, he's operating under our license. When he made that decision, we could not talk to the landowner next door. He decided he wanted that pole moved. Okay, move it. When we moved that pole, he effectively moved that pole. It took energy well over 45 days almost to move a pole. I mean, that was a courtesy. We can't make energy do anything but what energy does. We did not want to do that, but that's what he wanted, so we did. That was an additional cost on our company. Again, we accommodated. After accommodating him, Energy came and put that pole in the ground, drilled right down beside that water pipe and caused that leak. That's the issue with that water leak. Again, we would have repaired it. It's on our site. We agreed to let Energy do it. It was on our site. Again, we didn't have the opportunity to do it. When he asked Energy to move that pole and they drilled down outside and broke that water line, it took 45 days to get it fixed. Then they have to move it back, move the pole back, another delay in our contract. This is constantly causing delays in our contract. By the time we got everything set up, we were in the rainy season. Again, we're working in a ditch. We got 80,000 pounds of equipment in this ditch. We got guys running this equipment. We can't put our guy, I can replace that Cat 320. I can't replace my man right here. I cannot do that. And I shouldn't be asked to put my guy's life in danger to work in that environment. And that's all we were saying to him. We would have completed that project within the time frame had we been allowed to do the project the way we wanted to do initially. But we weren't allowed to talk to the homeowner, we weren't allowed to do this, we weren't allowed to do that. He wanted full control of that project under our license. So what could we do? But then once the contract is complete, he wants to eat everything from his decisions. That's unfair to us. And we shouldn't have to bear that cost.
So you have two issues.
Two issues.
Okay, do you have an amount in mind?
Yes,
you're
and he
talking
has.
about?
Yeah, we just want to be paid at full contract price. We provide that.
We can't pay the full contract price because of
Well, not-
deductions in the.
What I'm saying is, there's no deductions. There are certain things we didn't get a chance to put down, true, but I've already submitted the price to him. He has it. It's been certified.
Mr. Owens, can you come talk about the valves?
Yeah, I can
And
talk
the
about a
related
couple
areas.
things. The
First
First off, I'd like to point out that the contract was signed on July the 9th of last year.
Mhm.
At the contractor's request, we didn't start until September the 3rd.
Mhm.
So there's 2 months in there that were dry. The issue with the power pole having to be removed or moved was not my choice. That was based on the equipment that was brought out that required the power pole to be moved. Their solution was they wanted to have Energy come out, and it wasn't solely mine or the city's decision in terms of having the pole moved. They wanted to have Energy come out there. They said it would take them a couple of hours to get the box culvert set. Well, based on the time it took them to put the 3 previous sections in, which was 3 to 4 days, we nor Energy were satisfied that those people out there could have power disruption like there were. That's the issue behind the power pole. We've agreed, I agree, that the city would contribute half of that, of the $5,500, $5,800, whatever it was. That's included in the summary change order. The issue that, in terms of getting that resolved, yes, it took quite a period of time, but I think from the time that the lady that they're talking about, the temporary power pole or the power pole, Energy has an easement for the power pole on the property that sits vacant right there. So that landowner had to say, Energy, we're not going to ask you for a power pole in the future. They said, no, we're building a house there at some point in time. We don't want to have to pay Energy again to come out there and set a power pole. That's the issue with the power pole. The issue with the water line was the water line was there. They had repaired the water line. There was a water line leak. Myself and Mr. Lilly were out there with Public Works. They had the left side of the road dug up. The water line was leaking. They didn't have the people out there to repair the water line. Their solution was they were going to fill in that hole that's already empty. It's 12 feet deep, 40 foot long, 12 foot wide. They're going to fill that in and everything's going to be okay. They'll come back and repair the water line. I didn't feel like that was something that the people out there would need to go without water for as long as they did. So, yes, the simplest solution in order to repair that water line was to put in valves and on either end. That way, there was no reason that the water couldn't be cut off from either side. And if there was a problem, the valve was there to open it up to relieve any pressures or to do anything like that. The other thing is that they had a change in plan in December that took approximately 13 to 14 days to resolve. They brought out the precast flared in sections on the culvert. They didn't fit. They asked if they could pour it in place. I said, yes, you can pour it in place. I just need a stamp drawing from the engineer showing what you're doing. Took 8 days to get that stamp drawing. We turned it around on the same day, and they started with forming it 5 days after. So there's 13 days in there that were available to them to be working, but it was changed because they wanted to pour the thing in place. So again, I'm not disputing the fact that the valves that are in place may be something that the board could consider not charging for. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Philip is of the opinion, I'm sorry that he's not here, but Philip's of the opinion they've had to do this for other contractors, so he doesn't see any reason that this should be different. The calendar days, they had agreed all the way through the month of December with the calendar days that had been assessed before that there were 28 days left in the contract on January the 1st. So again, I don't have, I'm not trying to cause any issues. I'm just trying to, as I told them when we started this project, and as I tell every contractor, the contract that you signed is not with me, it's with the city of Clinton. I don't have any power to not charge liquidated damages. That's up to this board to decide whether they should be charged or they shouldn't be charged. It's our recommendation that based on the timing of it, that there be 11 calendar days assessed for damages. And the water line issue is something separate from that. Again, I think there was $9,800 that were involved in city labor, which they were the only ones out there, basically. I think there was one representative from RNC there during the night.
That's not correct, sir. That's not
Let
correct.
me just say, let him go ahead and finish with
Go
it.
ahead.
I wasn't out there. I'm just saying what I was told.
Okay.
So the city crews helped with that process. And so, again, that's a separate issue from the calendar days assessment as far as what this board wants to do.
What was the cause of the water leak to begin with?
The water leak cause was, and again, the pole very well could have done that. I don't know. I don't know.
Resetting of the pole.
Resetting of the temporary pole could have caused the leak. It was 20 or 30 feet away from.
No. It was about 6 inches away from the pole, the pipe.
Okay.
We got pictures of it.
Okay.
I can assure you.
The leak. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't mean to cut
So
you
it's
off.
very possible that the pole, when they set it, that energy set it in the location that it could have damaged the water line. I don't know. All I know at the point in time that Philip and the other public works crews were out there, the water was coming out of the pipe. There was not any speedy way to get that taken care of. And so Philip and I made the decision that the city crews would get the material and help put the valves in. Yes.
But is that something that had it occurred? Under the contract, was that something that the contractor
No.
would be responsible to fix?
Yes, they would be responsible to fix. Yes.
Even if it was caused by energy,
Again,
If
if it was caused by energy, yes.
they would still be responsible.
I just think you wanted to.
But we
So
use
something
our,
you can
our
address when you
city
was talking
labor
about-
to do it
Yeah.
because.
Right.
And then,
No, ma'am. To your question, no, city labor didn't fix it. My guys fixed it. Had one city crew, the rest of them sitting in the truck. Now, one guy got in and he cut the pipe one side on one pipe. No city labor. My guys fixed it all by themselves, except that one guy that was in there
With the valves.
with the valves.
Well, we're
City
hearing the
labor did
exact
not fix it.
opposite Story, so, and we're
City
hearing the
labor did
exact
not fix it.
opposite story, so, and
But
we
the
weren't there.
Mr. Bill was not there.
He was not there.
No, I don't,
I'm telling you, I was there. The city labor did not fix it. My guys did.
okay, well, I don't charge for his people.
And all of them were sitting in the truck. I'm honest with you. I'm telling you where they were.
They
My guys fixed it.
Sir, and when I asked Bill the same question, the leak, if it was caused by the pole, set by energy,
By energy.
would that be something that you would be responsible under contract to repair?
Yes,
And was not allowed time to fix it.
yes. Let me answer.
I thought you just said you did fix it.
We fixed it. I mean, before he
Made-
made changes to buy valves.
So the dispute here is the cost of the valve.
Of the
And
valves.
the labor.
And
But
the
the reason
labor.
why he did was because those residents would have no water for,
That's not also
A couple
true, and that's not always true, because they
Okay.
allowed us to cut it off on each end.
Let's go ahead, Ms. Gary has a question here. Let her get to her question.
To begin with, considering how inconvenienced the people on Quail Hollow Drive have been for months because of this project, I see no reason whatsoever that we should not support exactly what Mr. Owens has recommended. I don't think we should be quibbling over valves when the entire neighborhood was put at extraordinary disadvantage for months. In the first place, I can't tell you how many calls both I, Alderwoman Godfrey, and the mayor, and no telling how many other aldermen received from the people on Quail Hollow, telling us that the sun was shining, it was a beautiful day, and there was no one out there working on the project. I got calls almost on a daily basis about the fact that there was no one there working, despite the fact that it was a beautiful day. Or I would get a call saying that you all showed up at 10 a.m. in the morning and by noon you were gone. And that's also not to mention the fact that the water was cut off on more than one occasion. The internet was cut off on more than one occasion. There has been an extraordinary amount of trash out there on the work site that was not cleaned up in a timely manner. I could go on and on and on based on the innumerable phone calls.
Trash couldn't be picked up. No one could get in and out to do the trash pickup. I mean, just like she said, this project had, from the beginning, we started getting phone calls of what is going on? Why is this taking so long? How come nobody's working? You know, nobody's been here for 5 days. Nobody has been here this week.
I understand the picture you're trying to paint, but we're not disputing that, but we're disputing these valves that when you're talking about sunny days, true. It rained. It's supposed to rain tonight, tomorrow. They're talking about sunshine. I can't work in the mud. I can't do anything down in that sliding out behind the hill. Now, if I come in at 10 o'clock, we're checking the sites. It was too muddy. Why sit there all day in the mud, paying guys? I can't help if it rains and we can't work. They called me, Ransom called me. I said, Ransom, even the people over here on the job site y'all talking about, nobody was working because it was still muddy. When it rains, it be muddy. What do you want me to do in the mud? Now, you're going to get phone calls from everybody. I can't please everybody all the time. All I can do is try to do my work. Now, when they tell me some trash, we was getting the trash up. Now, that's not even an issue at this point, trash. Because I don't understand why you're trying to paint that picture of trash. Because we're talking about valves, we painted the valves, and something that the light company caused me to have to go and refix because it was fixed from the start. and they allowed us to turn the water off. The water was off on each end. Everybody still had water. Every time it went off, everybody still had water. Now that's just where it was, and you had to allow me to fix it.
I'm not trying to paint a picture, I'm just trying to tell you.
But that wasn't the issue about
It has
trash.
been one problem after another
We should have
with
been-
this project, and I would think you would be so thankful that it has not been recommended to do less than what has been recommended.
I think you need to read the documentation.
We've got a recommendation from our consulting engineer. He's made a recommendation on some penalties to assess there too. There have been many stories that we have heard where I think his recommendation was very generous to you. I think there could have been a lot more penalties assessed on there that were not on there too. You're quibbling over these things too, but there were a lot of other complaints that were done here as well. Could have been assessments too. And again, from what we've been told, it sounds like it was a very generous proposal to you. I know you're not happy with having any penalties at all in there, but given the overall scope and the problems with this, it sounds like a very reasonable proposal.
Let me spin this a whole nother way for you. And I want you to hear me out here.
Speaking of the microphone.
I'm sorry. Let me say this differently. If you all have looked at our proposal and what we said and provided the documentation with the attachment, you can understand more of what we're saying. The issue, it was not solely with us. Had we been allowed to do the job that we were contracted to do under our license, solely do the job, we could have completed this job within a reasonable amount of time frame. People are gonna complain. We understand it. We haven't just started doing this. We've been doing this for a long time. So we understand this. But what I'll say again is if we are required to follow that contract, everybody should be required to follow that contract. And that contract is very clear. If there were some issues, we've never been notified of any issues, except for pick up the trash. There's never been any documentation brought to us, except for maybe pick up the trash again. So to sit there and tell us that there's been issue after issue, but then nobody's ever provided any documentation to say this is amazing. Because the contract is very clear to say if there is an issue, the contractor must be notified and then given a chance to rectify. That has never happened. There's not been one documented incident of an issue with the work that we've performed. Everything that has been performed is that contract specification. So to tell me that a homeowner said this, they may have, but they're not a licensed contractor, so they don't know all the issues that's going on the ground. That's one. Two, no, we can't just bow down and accept because we were out there working. We know what was going on. You guys are hearing word of mouth. Again, I have several documentation with attachments 1 through 7 to back up what I'm saying. Not word of mouth, I have documentation. Only thing I'm asking of this board today is to follow the letter of that contract. And the letter of that contract, there are no fouls on that contract. We really, if you knew everything that was truly going on, this will be a different conversation. But we want to be treated fairly. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for anything else.
We have any more comments or questions from the board or Bill? Do you have anything else in the board?
I do have a question about you mentioned about this is your first time being alerted of issues or discrepancies. And I guess it's probably maybe more for Bill. Some of the issues that we've heard about the sunny days and the trash, have they been notified?
Yes, sir. They've been contacted.
Where's the, I mean, let's ask the real question here. On that contract, on the sunny days, what they don't realize is sometimes we can't work because of other issues out there. So if it had been sunny days, and yes, we agreed to those days, but if the board had provided the accumulation report and the precipitation report that we pulled up, I'm telling you, I've done this before. I know how this works. That's why I run those reports. That's why I do those things for the documentation for our company.
Okay, can I ask one question?
Go for it.
Did you or did you not request a change that accumulated 13 to 14 days to change the contract from precast end sections to pour it in place? Were there 15 days in there for that?
It probably was.
Okay,
I won't
well
deny
then-
that.
okay,
Yes, we
okay,
did because that was outside of our control as well, because the item we got delivered was broken.
My point being is that we have the same precipitation reports, and we feel like that we were fair in those days that it rained, and 3-4 days after that you couldn't work. My point being is that the 11 calendar days that we recommended being assessed are included in that 15 days that could have been being worked that weren't.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Okay. So the 11 calendar days, from the standpoint of whether we agree on whether the day was wet or not wet or whatever, really becomes moot when you look at the fact that there was a delay. The question becomes whether this board wants to charge for the $9,800 to repair, to put the gate valves in and repair the water line.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Owen, since you're bringing this up now, about the 13 days today, right? When we agreed upon the 28 days that we had left, and we talked about it, I ran the report after the 20. Why didn't we mention the 13 days then?
It was already in the assessment that you had signed.
I know, but in the assessment that I signed at the end of December, you said we had 28 days.
That's right. That's right. That
You
included.
didn't, I know. But what I'm telling you is the report that I ran is after that.
I understand, and we have the same reports, and again, we looked at the same data, and
Okay.
So.
Okay, we have any questions or comments or motions from the board?
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the engineer.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion to accept the recommendation of the engineer, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Item G, approval to advertise for the 2024 bank stabilization on Broadway Street. Mr. Owens, our city engineer, will take us through this one.
Yes, sir. This is for the NRCS project along Broadway, there in front of the apartments. The plans are ready. AT&T does have a fiber, but they have been notified since September that needs to be out of the way. We've notified them again today that this is bidding on June 11th, and construction will begin shortly thereafter. So we'd recommend approval to advertise.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item H, discussion action. Approval to advertise for the 2025 street paving improvements. Mr. Owen?
Yes, so this is for the city's street paving project that follows on the heels of the LPA project that we're doing. I think Alderman Martin made the good point the last time that we need to get those out to try to get the good prices, and the public works staff had gotten that done, and we prepared those documents. And so I think there's right at 4 miles of street that we're estimating to be paved. If we approve the advertisement, again, we'll bid on June the 11th.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item I, discussion action, certificate of appropriateness for Caracas. I never get that correct. The Greek restaurant at 312 Jefferson Street. It's in Ward 5, and Mr. Edwards is going to take us home. And Drew, if you'd like to come up and make any comments, you're certainly welcome to.
Tell us the name of your
I'm
business.
trying.
We don't care what you call it. Thank you, Mayor and Board. And Mr. Creel is here with Galacus, and they are seeking a certificate of appropriateness with a dimensional variance to encroach on the West League Street setback for a grease bin enclosure. This property is currently in the Old Town Clinton district. There's the location of the grease bin. The applicant is seeking a dimensional variance of 18 foot 6 inches. Just to give you an idea, the red is the setback line off of West League Street. The green is the right of way, and the variance that they're seeking is 18 foot 6 inches on that to get to the front of the grease bin there. And also a dimensional variance from the requirement for 20-foot setback for grease bins, grease traps from the public sidewalk, and it does abut the sidewalk. The a view of it. And the other things, as far as certificate of appropriateness, they're asking for is for lights above the doors there, where the two red arrows are. The red arrow to the right, we'd like to move that gooseneck light to the right, just a little bit between the door and the window. There's the type of lighting they want to put up. And then also for an awning to go over the pickup window and the access door there, and it will match the front awnings as well. Sections 2200, 2206 require issuance of certificate of appropriateness for certain actions, and of course these actions do require that. This is the site plan that was originally approved last year. You see the dining on the outside the wall there, and they're asking to go in that area with some flagstone as well. Notice of public hearing was published and the property posted as required by our ordinance. Historic Preservation Commission did recommend approval as presented. The Planning Commission recommended approval with conditions that the city grant an easement, that the owner identify the city of any liability due to the location of the bin, and that the owner be responsible for any damage or cleanup that may occur on the city property.
Okay. Bruce, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, sir. Roy did a great job.
Any comments, questions, or a motion from the board?
Move to approve.
Okay, comments.
You got
Oh, sorry.
it. Go ahead.
Okay.
You raised, you and Ms. Wilbanks have raised some issues last night. I know you don't get out.
The lighting, the awning, on it, I'm fine with too. I've got several concerns about the grease bin there too. Number one, it's not just a setback from on your property that's sitting on city property. It's not on your property there, and I've got some real concerns about the city giving permission for a commercial business to put their property on city property there too. If it was on your property, it's just too close to the setback lines or something, that's been considered, but you're actually asking us to donate that area of city property for a grease bin. So I've got concerns about the legality of that too. Even if that's not a problem, even if that's permissible, I've just got a problem with a grease bin on one of our brick streets right in the heart of downtown Clinton. We've worked for many years trying to build up our downtown area, make it look nice, and now we've got a grease bin there. It's a dumpster. It's a smaller dumpster than a garbage dumpster, but it's looks exactly like a number of the garbage dumpsters around town. Brick on the side, an opening door on it. Some of them are metal, some of them are brick or whatever, but it's just a mini dumpster, and we've stuck it right out in the middle of a prime part of Old Town Clinton. And I just don't see how that is appropriate to go in Old Town Clinton. I know you've got to have one for your business. I love your business. And the folks in Clinton and from out of town do too. So I certainly don't want to cause problems with your business, but I think there should be another place to put that grease bin besides right there in the prominent part of Old Town Clinton. Your landlord's got some additional space back there. We gave permission for you to put your freezer back there on it, and I think the grease bin could go back there too, or there could be some other locations for it too. But that was put there without permission in the first place, and I just don't think it's appropriate for it to be there. I think there are some other options that might be a little more inconvenient to you, but that's not a criteria there. If it costs a little more, it's a little more inconvenient or something. Again, I don't think that's appropriate to put that in that area of Old Town Clinton on city property. One thing we talked about last night, or questioned about it, if it were put back there where the cooler is, can it still be, I mean, can it be dumped or emptied, or I don't know what the proper term is, because the guy now drives right up to it and then it empties it in, various times. So I just.
If nobody's parked there,
Do what?
if nobody is parked there by that fence, there's a chance he can get his hose over the top of that fence and be able to get to it.
Which is, I was going to say, someone that looks for a parking place around there about 14 times a day. That's just, their parking is a problem we're going to have to address. Our new mayor, I'm sure, has already good ideas about that. I don't know what they are, but the parking is a problem, and right there particularly. But that's one of the discussions we have, whether it's.
Well, I don't see the difference in that sitting there and the benches and tables and all the other things that other people in the city are using on city sidewalks. If we're gonna say this is city property, well then everybody has to move their benches and their tables and all the other stuff that sits there taking up city property. So I don't see the difference in that. So for me, I think it's done in a way that that it doesn't look like a dumpster to me. So anyway, I just think that it's something that we should not make everything so difficult for people to do things. We should try to do what we can to help. We can't claim that city property and not claim it other places. The two don't match. So just my opinion.
Other comments?
Just a question, in terms of the other things on the city property, like tables and benches or what, and I assume you're talking about, say, the tables outside of 303.
All along that side, there's benches, there's potted plants, there's tables that people have set out to use for their restaurants. There's the same thing across the street. So it's done all along the streets, and it is city property, and it is taking up city property. So I don't know how we can, say this one thing is not allowed, but everything else is, just because we like the way they look better.
And I do the idea of the flagstone or whatever you're doing, you're gonna put tables out there along that area. I for long thought that needed some landscaping or something going there, and I think that's a good result there. And I think it will look nice. Jim and I worked across the street with different offices, and we had conversation immediately when it came about. I do think there were some changes to it to kind of make it blend into the building. My concern was not the city private property, it was the grease trap across the street. And I think it has blended where it's not overly noticeable. I think Beverly was the one that said you didn't know where even.
Yeah, I asked Jennifer, where's this grease trap? I'm trying to,
That's what I was gonna say. I think I'm not a mathematician and haven't done statistics, but only city people that have been involved with our process even know what that is.
Yeah.
And if historic preservation approves it as it was presented, if they don't have an issue with it, I don't know why we would have an issue with it, because that's their thing. They are making sure that Old Town does stay nice and stays the way, but we also need to accommodate folks that have decided to come to our city and have their business here. So anyway, I move to approve.
What was it? Unanimous vote of historic preservation?
Yes, it was.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second.
I second, but I also want to make a comment. I feel like you want to go.
I was just gonna say, could you repeat what the recommendation from planning and zoning was?
It was that the city grant an easement to the owner, that the owner was to indemnify the city of any liability due to the location of the grease bin, and the owner be responsible for any damage or cleanup that may occur.
Would you be willing to amend?
I feel that
Yes.
covers our tail, doesn't make it difficult, nobody knows it's there.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment if I could. Again, I couch it in two ways. One, about it putting on the legality of putting on city property on there too. But I said, even if that's appropriate, or even if that's legal, is it appropriate to put a dumpster out there too? And some comments about, well, we've got some benches out there and things like that. Those benches that are out there are for anyone to sit on. They don't say just for our business only out there. They're out there and they look nice. So you could see that benches or tables or something is appropriate for an old town area. But again, to put a dumpster in there, it is an item that would be on city property, but do we really want dumpsters?
not
If somebody wants to put a full size one up there too, as opposed to a minimum one too, what you're approving as appropriate there is a waste disposal system there too. And there is another place to put it there too. We had a meeting with waste management folks, so we were looking at putting another dumpster back, and we asked that question to them about the removal of used grease on it, so that the removal folks have a hose that they can run and hook as many hoses on there as they need to get to it too. So while there are some cars that could be there, well, they could run between the cars or even put a little notch in the fence or something so you didn't have to go over it. I think there's some other things that could be done that could be accommodated back there, again, without putting that thing just right out in the middle of our Brick Street area there too. So I think there's a big difference in that between benches and tables and things like that as to putting a dumpster out there.
Mr. Locke?
I think, so my comment was in regards to what the planning and zoning recommended. And I think Karen agreed to amend her motion, and I will amend my second. But I would appreciate you for, well, not relocating, but expanding the Clinton. We are very concerned with the upkeep of Old Town, and I agree with Beverly and Jim in the sentiment. We don't want anything that would detract from that. But I've driven by there yesterday when I drove by there yesterday, excuse me, and it seemed to blend, and I think it doesn't take away from the overall appeal that we have in Old Town. And I was on board with putting it behind and that strip, if it was a feasible option, that would be preferred. But in the event that it's not, I think this is the second best. And again, appreciate your business.
Can I ask one more question? If that parking space was blocked off next to it so that no one could park there, would it work there behind the building if there was access to
The issues that I can think of behind the building, you got a mural up there. Sure, it needs to be repainted, but we like it. So if you put it directly behind the building where the mural is, where those parking spaces are, it's gonna be out in the open. I really don't want to, I mean, if I have to, I guess I don't have a choice, but I'd prefer not to have to.
I think that we were talking about around the corner though.
You're talking about behind the fence? I mean, the biggest issue there is just gonna be access and,
Well, it's not my favorite place where it is, but I'd rather it be there than take a parking space away.
Okay,
Because
how often does it come by?
usually about twice a month.
So we'll be taking up a parking space for
Twice a month.
Yeah. And some people that park don't adhere to the signs for no parking. I won't mention any names. Some of them have white trucks and are on the board of all of them.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries. Let's see, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, next, item J, discussion action certificate of appropriateness, Sid Sassoon, 102 East Lee Street.
Richard, that
Sydney, yeah.
Sound like a hair salon.
Listen, you know, all I can do is what I can do. That's all I need. That's all I got. It's in Ward 1. Mr. Roy will take us through that. Come on around so you can.
This is Sydney's, with it, with the Family Social Club is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to renovate the exterior of the structure at this location. Recognize it's across the street from us here at the Woods Building, and what they're looking to do is to install guardrails along the porch and install an ADA ramp with handrails and lattice below the ramp. This is some ideas of what's near there that it will be designed to look similar to. That's the guardrails along the porch. And they give you an idea of what it is. She's also seeking to replace the yard sign on there. The sign does meet our sign regulations on there as well. Again, 2200, 2206 do require the issuance of certificate of appropriateness for certain actions. And these actions would require that. The Department of Archives and History did not make comment back to us on that. Usually if it's something that is easily removed on that, they don't, they won't make a comment one way or the other on that. Historic.
The ramp that you showed picture is at the bakery
That's at the
next
bakery.
door.
Right.
And it's not a preferable thing. I don't think Sydney's is preferable, but you can't get in it if you have handicapped or you're elderly. Because I mean, I looked at that building as an office, and that's one of the issues there. So it's probably not preferable that we have that there, but we want something in that building, and to have it, I think you have to.
For how this business would operate too, the whole front space is an indoor play space, so that's strollers, parents coming in with multiple children that are 0 to 6, 7, 8, and then the whole back half is pediatric therapy. So it's cash based, so I may not get a wheelchair bound child, but if I do, I don't have a way to get them in. So
Is any, the historical effects, does this affect any of that?
so they said as long as it was wooden and could be removed.
Where you have it coming out on the front steps, if you put it coming up from the side, is there a place to have it, or is there just not enough room?
Not on that side. Where you see the railing on the left, that goes straight into where the window is.
Okay. Oh, okay, so there's no space there. Okay.
And then the back porch is rotted. So like there's a big well back there we put a fence around, just so my own children don't fall in it. But we did the price out from if we came off the back and came around, but we would have to take off the whole back porch and redo it. The whole back porch is
And they're just
rotten.
leasing this building.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not in
And
ownership.
there's
So the
a lot
whole
of
point is
repairs
it's
already.
removable and it doesn't damage the building.
Yes. And the railing
Will the,
also has to be removable, so everything is of the structure that
Will
goes on.
the magnolia trees remain?
Yes,
They're just not pictured here.
right.
Okay.
And I think, I mean, if you
Yeah,
look at
they'll be
those
there.
trees, they pretty much hide most of
They
it.
hide everything.
Yeah. They took through.
I second.
There's a little cobblestone walkway there now, so you're
So
just putting it on
the-
top of that. That's not really.
We'll put it on top of what exists for like 31 feet, and then the last 9 feet, we'll just do, I don't know if it'll be flagstone or something level that a lawnmower could go over, but
So there's a wall space back there already, so they can interfere with that magnolia tree there,
yeah,
which is very attractive, so folks in all that.
yeah. No, we can't get rid of those.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I've reviewed the rest of the agenda. I don't think there are any more names I can murder. We'll see.
Good luck.
Item K, discussion action on architectural review for the hair spa, 702 Spring Ridge Road in Ward 5. Mr. Owens?
Ron Simpson is here, and he has submitted the construction plans to construct a 2,500 square foot building at this location on Spring Ridge Road. This property is just south of the Dollar General and across Spring Ridge from the MDOT building in Public Works. Plans are to have a 1,500 square foot hair salon and a 1,000 square foot lease area. This is your site plan, your landscape plan. And one of the things that the Architectural Review Committee, as well as the Planning Commission, have suggested is let's go with a smaller tree instead of the large trees. They can still meet the landscape requirements with the smaller trees. And Mr. Simpson has agreed to do that. There are overhead power lines that can keep from butchering them up later as they grow. He's agreed to put the smaller trees on the front there. 4 does meet the requirement for small trees on there. He's still got, it doesn't show on this site plan, he has added 2 large trees, the willow oak to the right of the parking lot there. That'll help break that up as well. This is your elevations. Be hardy plank on the sides, brick on the front, shingle roof. There's your floor
Hard
plan.
board on the rear too.
Hard board on the rear. And this is a view coming on Spring Ridge Road, looking back into the property. This is straight on view of it. And this is as you're coming in front of the Dollar General looking back. And again, there'll be 2 trees, 2 willow oaks on that side of the parking. There's your colors. These guys. Give you a better idea of what it's going to do, the hardy plank and the painted brick.
And Roy, the planning and zoning, the ordinance is to consider 3 or more units. And he's doing 2 units.
Right, that was one of the questions that one of the commissioners had asked was, since it's got more than 1 unit there, is it considered a shopping center, which would require 3 acres? This is only 2 units that meet the definition of a shopping center.
So, okay. So that's why it's 2 spaces instead of 3 is.
It's only been 2 from
Is
the
what he,
beginning.
okay. So it needs that ordinance, or what, okay.
I'm encouraged by this investment on the south side of town, so I'll make a motion to approve.
And I second.
Motion and a second.
Are you the contractor or are you part of the owner of the?
So this is my wife's facility. She's been in Clinton for about 15 years now.
Okay.
So she's, location on Clinton Boulevard. And to your point, it's an investment. So
Yeah.
I mean, to your
We appreciate the landscaping, trees,
Yes.
small and big.
That's been a tough thing. And trees are kind of misleading. You go to you talk to these people at the places, and they're like, yeah, it can be stunted at a certain amount, but it can't grow up to 80. So we've been working on to ensure that, but we will ensure that it doesn't get in power lines. And aesthetics is one of my wife's things, so she's big on that. So
I appreciate it. Would y'all happen to be residents also?
well, we actually live in Bolt, but we do everything in Clinton. So we'd love to be a resident because private school costs money. Right, that is a consideration.
Well, you don't belong here. So.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item L, discussion action on architectural review home instead, 132 North Side Drive. This is in Ward 1. And Mr. Edwards will bring us through this one, and the owners are here to answer any questions.
There's already here for any questions with it. They have submitted material and color samples to paint the exterior of the building and replace the windows and doors. This is as it looks now. They're also seeking approval for a wall sign as well in this location. Since there's not been a wall sign there before, we do have to bring it at this time. We do have to bring it for the boards. Here's another look at what it looks like now. They'll be keeping the awning as you see it now, but painting the brick, the white, and then the green, Sherwin-Williams Courtyard green will be the signage there. The doors and windows will be dark bronze. They'll be replaced. And there's your color samples there. The proposed sign does meet the city's sign requirements, and the architectural review as well as planning commission have both recommended approval as submitted. And this is strictly nothing's changing on the site plan, the parking, anything. It's just the repainting of the building.
Move to approve.
Second. That's easy enough.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Roy, can I ask
Motion
you,
carries.
The dumpster, is it supposed to be enclosed or?
It was-
That's
That was from the
It was the
previous owner.
Okay,
They were
that's
getting
what-
rid of some of their things inside the
Okay,
building
good.
before I purchased it.
Okay, thank you.
That's why they're painting their sign green to match the.
The dumpster.
I mean, it's aesthetic.
Okay, item M, discussion action, conditional use for dimensional variance on Betty Investments, 410 Highway 80 East. This is in Ward 6. Mr. Edwards, is anyone here to represent that? Hey, okay. Come on up if you like. Or-
This is Daniel Woolridge. He's the architect for the project. They are seeking a dimensional variance to construct an 8,050 square foot building at this location. This structure will consist of a 4,500 square foot convenience store and a 3,500 square foot lease space. This is the old convenience store where Lily's was for years. And where you see the canopy now, basically what they put in next, if approved, would be at that location. And of course, it does encroach on our setbacks. This is the artist rendering or architectural rendering of the building. Brick on all four sides. It's your site plan. And that in the red is your setback lines. It's got a little dog leg in it there, but you can see around it is the canopy on there. And it is inside the setback area. It is on private property. It's not in the right of way on there, but does pass the setback lines. So they would need a 28-foot variance from the front setback lines, or setbacks on the front. C2 is 40, and then a 2-foot variance from the required landscaping on the side. Now, they're also going to keep the same site plan here. The curb that's there now will continue to be there. The access on and off of 80 will stay the same. Nothing changing on that. Just the old building will be raised and the new one will be built in this place there. That area there is where the 2-foot variance from the 5-foot landscaping requirement going around the building on there. Yeah. The property is on C2, and the convenience store had operated from this in the existing structure, and so therefore it doesn't have to have a conditional use on there. It's considered a permitted use if it was there prior to the zoning or during was ever accepted as a conditional use there. Section 1004 gives you the minimum requirements to grant a dimensional variance. The notice of public hearing was published, and the property posted is required by our ordinance. And the Architectural Review Committee, as well as the Planning Commission, recommend approval as submitted with the addition of putting bollards around where the dumpsters are to keep the truck from getting.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
When will y'all get started?
As soon as I can get the drawings done. They'll be pretty
What you
quick.
doing tonight?
That's probably where I'm headed.
There you go. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Item N, discussion action, architectural review, Skyland's landscape, 114 Clinton Industrial Park. This is in Ward 1. Mr. Edwards will take us through this one, and both Phil and Will are here tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
They have submitted the construction documents for this to remodel the front and north side of the exterior walls. The gable end here with the vent in it is the north side, and then where you see the signs there, it would be the front of the building. The property is zoned I-1. The walls, you'll see some changes on there. You'll see the storefront with the awning across it, the addition of the windows. See the roll-up door is already there, and I think that man door beside the roll-up door is there existing now. And just like the other two, this will not have any changes to the site plan. It's just the building itself and the color. It has a sign already, so as long as it meets our regulations, this doesn't have to come back before the board, but they did present it there. And these are your colors on there. The windows and awnings will be the bronze there, and the wall paint panels will be the gray metal wall panels. So the wall panels are being changed on front. They'll have a wider reveal than what you see there.
Y'all pick the colors?
Yeah, we did.
Just some help.
I made to approve this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item O, discussion action, dimensional variance in Lewis Turcotte, 176 Skyline. I was in Ward 2. Mr. Edwards will take a sit through here, and Mr. Turcotte here to answer any questions you may have.
And the Turcottes are seeking a dimensional variance to construct an accessory structure at this location. This is looking off of Skyline towards their house. It's other large red square there is the house through the woods there, and then to the left you'll see there's a vehicle in the smaller square. This one is the same. The smaller one is the vehicle there, and to the left of it, the larger square is the approximate location of the building. This property is zoned residential estate. The Turcottes own the 3 lots you see there, 12, 13, and 14. The house, as well as the accessory structure, will all stay on 13. You'll have the 2 lots just north of them there. This gives you an idea of where the structure's going. That in the red there is the approximate location of the accessory structure. You're looking at 23 foot to the property line to the north of them, which is, again, their property, lot 13. And going towards the Skyline, it's about 200 foot off the property, off the right of way. The proposed accessory building would be a 24 by 40 garage to match with the same material and colors of the existing garage. They do have a detached garage that is connected with the breezeway. You can see it there behind the house. On there, this is the elevations. Both of the accessory structures are 960 square foot, totaling 1,920 square foot total. So that's going to require 1,170 square foot variance. Just to give you an idea of why they have to have it. These contour lines are in 20-foot intervals here. It drops off there near the house. It's a 20-foot difference between where you see the house site there at the bottom to as it goes to the up north there. And so it's there is a need because of the terrain there. It was not caused by the applicant, but that is part of the lay of the land. The notice of public hearing was published as required by our ordinance, and the property was posted as well. And the Planning Commission recommends approval as submitted.
Yeah, I drove by, and the picture that you had up there, the trees were bare, and then the trees now that are kind of up, and you don't see anything.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Mr. Turcotte, easy come, easy go.
This is the end of the agenda.
Yeah.
Before you return.
Better news for you, item P has been removed. So now we move on to item Q, which is a discussion action resolution for uncapped property at 602 Hathaway Drive. The parcel number is listed, it's in Ward 6, and Mr. Edwards will take us through this one.
All right, we are seeking a resolution declaring this property to be in its present condition and a state of uncleanliness to be a menace to the public health and safety of the community. This is this was taken today. Looking at the sidewalk, the property is vacant right now. We have done all our notifications required by the state law, as well as posting the property and posting it at City Hall as well. This property is not listed on the Secretary of State's tax forfeited list. On there, it's got a bank's name on there as well as the previous owner on there. The bank says it's not theirs, but so we'll just bring it as a resolution. We'll go ahead and get it cut and cleared. Another view of it. That's from the county tax assessor's offices. That's where we get the information from. Show you, that's the backyard. And this is taken from behind the building, looking back at the neighbor. That in the red cloud there is area, it's a ditch that runs there from the Masonic Lodge back behind the houses there, which I know in years past, there have been problems with drainage there. We can get that cleaned as well. It is on this property.
This is the neighbor's backyard.
This is the neighbor's, right?
If they say that.
This is behind the Masonic Lodge.
There are areas that on the other side of the fence, correct?
Right, this is their property too, their property, the fence, they put the fence where they didn't have the.
This neighbor will be glad that I moved to approve.
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And a third for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Item 10, A through D, we've taken these in one vote. Total of 6 people being hired, Parks and Rec, Public Works, pending passing the MEA drug testing.
Move to approve these 6 individuals to be hired by the city clerk.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the city?
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second.